Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So I was just thinking over the last couple of days that I didn't start this channel out the way that I probably should have. I never made an intro video. So you guys don't really know who I am or who you're watching, except for some close friends and family that do watch this channel. So my name is Chris Krieger, and not a professional fabricator by any means. So yeah, I started working on cars when I was probably 15 or so. I went through a program at the local high school, did that, and then when I graduated I slung tires for about 6 months or so, and then I joined the Air Force back in 2008. Did that until 2015, got out, and I worked on F-16s while I was in. Was able to get a job working on C5s for a few years. And now I'm off the toolbox and I'm essentially a project manager. And yeah, it's just kind of turned into the fabrication stuff. But I wanted to give that little backstory there and also explain why you probably won't see regular videos from me on a regular time frame like some of the other YouTube guys out there. And one, I have a full-time job, so that's kind of some of it. I mean, I can still make it work, but I also have, if you will, a second part full-time job, and that's kind of keeping up with the land that we live on and a little bit, if you will, of a farm. I don't traditionally call it that because we don't tend to sell too much to customers. It's more of a hobby farm, but it keeps us fairly busy. So in the background you guys can see some of our animals. We've got a Texas Longhorn and a pretty much a Florida Cracker cow. It's a mixed breed cow, a couple horses and a donkey. And we've got some other cows out in another pasture up here. So they're not super high maintenance, but they do keep us busy. We've also got a small herd of goats that aren't super big maintenance hogs either, but you gotta check up on them. You gotta make sure they're doing right, you know. That takes up a little bit of our time as well on a weekly basis, if you will. Not to mention the past couple weeks down there in Georgia, summer has hit, like finally hit. If any of you guys are around the middle Georgia area, you know that up until about, I guess, middle of June, it was almost spring-like weather here. At least it was to me. It was absolutely beautiful. High 80s, maybe low 90s, but it felt like spring. And it was wet, so it's fairly easy to get out and get stuff done in the afternoons. Right now we're averaging about upper 90s to low 100s with super high humidity. It just got done raining here about 5 minutes ago, and that just makes for an absolute miserable time to be out in a closed-in shop trying to film. And it's not something that I'm super big on, but also I've been busy most of my evenings because we've got a decent sized garden. It's not the biggest out there in the world, but it's decent size. And if any of you guys watching this do any kind of gardening, you know that during this time of the year, it takes up a fair amount of your life, between keeping most of the weeds down in your garden, to keeping everything fertilized, to picking, to, at that point, once you get it picked, then you got to do something with it, right? So you got to put it up, can it, freeze it, etc., etc. And it takes up a good chunk of your evenings. But I'm going to show you guys a little bit of our garden, and it'll kind of explain some of the stuff I do in my spare time when I'm not in the shop. So this right here is one of two raised bed gardens, And we've got anything from sweet potatoes to cherry tomatoes to some Black Beauty tomatoes, some basil, some relatively freshly planted banana peppers, to some ornamental stuff, along with some more tomatoes. Those aren't doing the best in the world, but we just got through fertilizing those, so hopefully they'll pop off. And on the second raised bed, we've got a massive line of tomatillos, and there's actually a couple of regular tomato plants in there, but those tomatillos have just exploded, and those tomato plants just can't keep up. There's also some more basil here. We've got a few varieties of peppers, some eggplant over in the other corner, some garlic that probably we planted at the wrong time of the year, but it'll probably be good next spring. That is just in the raised bed, and that one's kind of easy to take care of. You know, with how much rain we've had, kind of done most of the watering for us this year, and there's not a whole lot of weeding that goes on in that bed. It's mainly just cutting the grass around all the beds. But the big garden, which is a 50 by 100, that one has kept me the most busy this year. It's a constant weeding match, and some of it I've just kind of given up on and just kind of let the grass kind of grow in, and some of it we've kind of went to the little bit further extent, stuff that doesn't grow as dense. As you guys can see, we've got a mountain of freaking peas, and we have pulled probably 5 gallons of peas picked off of this little plot here, and we have a bunch more coming in every day. So that kind of keeps us kind of busy. We used to have some more peas here. We pulled those up, and you can see our drip irrigation down below. And then you get to the side of the garden to where I have hand weeded numerous times this summer, and it seems like every time I turn around, within 2 days there are weeds just growing through this thing. So I sat down, me and my wife sat down last weekend, and we just mulched everything, and it's helped a little bit. We couldn't get our mulch layer as thick as we wanted it, so it's not taking care of everything, but 90% of it has been taken care of, which is awesome because that leaves me a little more time in the evenings. But we've got anything from squash, there's a bunch of cucumbers that aren't doing the best, but hopefully they're gonna hit a rebound here. It's just been super wet and humid, and cucumbers just, they're not a big fan of that weather. Really, a lot of your garden isn't, especially when you're getting 3 or 4 inches a week, which is what we were getting earlier on in the season. So I'm kind of happy that we had a dry spell for about a week. It's allowing some of our plants to kind of catch up, if you will. But we've got some more cucumbers on this row, along with probably 3 or 4 different varieties of tomatoes and pepper plants. Once these really start to kick off, which they should here very shortly, we are going to be absolutely swimming in produce, guys, and it's not going to leave me a whole lot of time to be out in the shop. But I'm going to try to get back out there here in the next couple of days to a week, see if we can't make some more forward progress on that S10, because I really want to get it going again and getting it down the road. And then on the other side of the garden here, we have got just rows upon rows of okra. We've got 2 different varieties of okra out here, and they are just now starting to come in with the a lot of the rain starting to back off, because okra really likes that dry, hot climate, and we just weren't getting it. We had some corn planted, but we have already pulled all that up. You can see how much the grass has just taken over. It's ridiculous out here, and that's pretty much 90% crabgrass, to be honest with you. And our goats are seeing as the rain is gone, and I can show you our goats. And here and there we do breed these guys, and we end up selling their kids off once they're weaned out. I think we're probably gonna end up doing that again this year. Is that by about May of next year we'll have some kids we can sell off, make a little bit of extra change around the house, you know what I mean? Well, any money we end up making off that stuff anyways, guys, it doesn't necessarily go to me in the shop or any of that stuff. It tends to go back into them, whether or not we, for their food, or when we do add-ons like that right there. We did that last year, fully enclosed a carport for them, that way they have a nice dry place out of the rain and the cold. But yeah guys, it's pretty much it. It's a good update for you guys, kind of maybe hopefully explain a little bit about why I don't post on a consistent basis, and give you more of a reason that when I do post, you guys need to hit that subscribe button along with the bell to have it notify you when I do post. And for those of you that have stuck around through this entire probably 12 minutes of me talking at this point and rambling on, I greatly appreciate you guys, and we'll see you hopefully here shortly in the shop doing what you guys actually wanted to see on this channel. Till then, you guys take it easy. See you next time.